Oh, yay.
Sorry,
Hello.
everybody. Hello. Sorry, everybody.
Worked.
Hello.
Hello. My
Were you so
computer froze.
excited? You were
There
so
we go.
excited that
Hi,
Becky and I were
everybody.
back?
You gone? I
Trying to
noticed.
prolong this excitement. So my computer froze, and so I went to restart it. And so the restarting said, like, this will take 10 minutes. Never happened before.
Oh,
Must be have had like updates that I didn't do in a while or something. Sorry about that.
It happens to all of us.
It does.
Uh,
But Becky and I had that same thing with the laptop. It didn't even give us the choice. It all of a sudden turned off and said, putting in updates. We were in the middle of a Zoom meeting and it took 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We ended up going into the den and getting on the desktop, which has a very old camera. It's not our favorite place to do Zoom.
Right.
Anyway, we're all here now, or most of
Great.
us.
I have to open up the lesson plan so I know what I'm doing. How are you all doing? You getting ready for the summer?
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready.
Excellent.
Mike, don't put your hat away. I think it's going to be in the 40s over the weekend.
Oh, okay, Norm.
I know it is a crazy weather pattern.
Like-
Just in time for the weekend.
supposed to
I
rain?
liked how oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's going to rain, I think they said.
Yeah, I wish whoever could control
Oh.
those Jewish lasers from outer space would do
There we
something
go.
with the
Sorry,
weather.
Teresa. Thanks for letting me know.
So
Hello,
someone
Anna. Hello,
in the Globe
everybody.
yesterday described the weather here. I never heard it put this way before. They described the weather here as bipolar. I thought that was pretty good.
and it's off its meds.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, let's start class since I can't really go much later than usual. We have a short class today. So in case you didn't know, I think everybody does know, this is our last class before summer break. And I'm going to put a question in your head. We'll answer it at the end of class. If anybody has any particular wants or don't wants for class resuming in the fall, something that you would like to do, something that you'd prefer not to do, suggestions, basically what I'm looking for the classes in the fall. Think about them during the class and tell me later or email me with them. All right. So let's start out. I'm going to put on, where's my keypad? So let's start out with what I asked you to look at last time, which was Ve'ahavta and Shalom Aleichem one last time here. With the, did anybody look at them on the page that has the stuff that we talked about grammatically on pages 90, 98 and 99? Let's sing them from there, and then I'm going to take any questions you have about the grammatical things that we covered last time on pages 93 to 97. All right. So, we might as well start Ve'ahavta with Shema. Might as well do the whole thing. We're praying here. So I'm going to mute you for this. And I'll invite you to unmute yourself when you have something to say. All right, so let's sing Shema Ve'ahavta and Lama'an first. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha. Vehayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. I hope I wasn't doing that too quickly. I just realized that I was not doing it slowly. I was doing it at normal pace. All right, let's do Shalom Aleichem on page 99, and then we'll talk for a minute. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I invite you to unmute now. So first of all, does anybody have any questions about the grammar pieces that we covered in the last two classes?
Well-
Steve?
So Becky and I unfortunately missed the last two, but in the last verse of what we just sang, so the second row from the bottom, can you say that word for me again?
Which word?
Zaithem, maybe?
Sechem.
Seitchem.
Sechem.
Seitchem.
Zaithem.
No, it's not a Z. It's a TZ.
Oh, it's
It's like the
Seit.
middle sound in pizza.
Say,
got it.
Seitchem.
Thank you. Now I remember.
Seitchem, that's a
Zaithem.
Seitchem, yeah. So does anybody know what that suffix that's in the bold, the kaf mem, means?
Shem.
The chem?
It's
Yeah.
clearing your throat.
Doesn't it mean your?
It means
Your.
your, the possessive your. Very good. And so, of course, there are possessives that are for the other persons and genders, right? So the your there is in either masculine or mixed. If you look over at Ve'ahavta on the opposing page, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, that final kaf with the ah, does anybody know what that means?
Not you.
It's also your, but
Oh.
it's a different your. It's your in the singular, whereas the chem is your in the plural, talking to a group. That's an ambiguity in English that most other languages don't have, right? So that's sort of handy whenever you see a word with the cha ending like that. It means your whatever the noun is. Like Elohecha, your God, Levavcha, your heart, Nafshecha, your soul, Vodecha, your possessions, Mitzavcha, your commandments, or I command you. All right. Don't worry too much about the grammar. If you like that sort of thing, if it helps you, it's a fine thing to learn, but don't feel like you have to do it, of course. So let's, I think what I'm going to do is give you Chavruta now. And here's what I'd like you to do in Chavruta. To read together we'll turn to page 102. And I'll show you from there. So you see how there's Matovu at the bottom of the page? I'd like you to start with Matovu, read Matovu, read the blessing for Torah study on the next page, read Ahava Rabbah from Ahava Rabbah and from Ahavat Olam. If you finish that and we're still in Chavruta, you could read what's at the top of page 102 or go back to 101. I don't know if people read that for homework, but we could go back to those. I'd like you to do the excerpts from the prayers first. Any questions about that? All right, let me put you in your groups.
I pronounce this.
Okay.
Not she, definitely not she.
Misha. Misha. No.
Whoever they.
Steve, we can hear you.
I realize that. I'm hoping whoever you put me with can pronounce the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th word in Matovu.
Mishkanotecha?
Ah,
Oh,
thanks,
That's the
Hannah.
word,
Very good, Hannah.
and the word is good.
thank you.
I've done this a few times.
Okay. Here we
Was
go.
I right, David? Cool.
Oh, wait. Here we go. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What was it, Hannah? Welcome back, everybody. So, I think I answered a fair number of questions about this stuff in your breakout groups. Are there any questions that I did not answer that you'd like to ask now about these readings on Matovu or the Blessing for Torah study or Ahava Rabbah or Ahavat Olam? No, nothing. Well, let me just give like a little, there's a lot to say that could be said about all of these things, but I will give a little extra understanding for the Blessing for Torah study. And the interesting thing about this one to me is that this title that this book made up for is a Blessing for Torah study. And frankly, we often call it that too, because it's easier to call it that than to try to be accurate. Because if you look at the words, it would be very easy to write the blessing as a blessing for Torah study. Blessed are you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, who makes us holy with mitzvot and commands us to study the Torah. We have those words in Hebrew. To study lilmod Torah. You would say vitzivanu lilmod Torah. But the blessing doesn't say that. The blessing says la'asok b'divrei Torah, to occupy ourselves with the words of Torah. La'asok, it's the word for that word la'asok is used for business, for being busy, for being occupied. And so the idea here is not that we're making a blessing just, oh, I'm studying. It's a blessing over making Torah something that you occupy yourselves with, that you make yourself busy doing. In other words, that it's like a higher level of activity than just, oh, I have to study for a test. No, it's trying to get across the idea that it's something central, that it's something important, that it's something that occupies us spiritually and intellectually. Any thoughts about any of this stuff, folks? Anybody want to make any suggestions or thoughts for how we resume in the fall? I've never seen this class so quiet.
Do you mean resume on Zoom or in person? Or I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, that's possible. Yeah. Do you prefer Zoom or in person?
I hadn't even thought about it for the lessons. I prefer to get back into Temple eventually for Friday nights and Torah classes and things, but I hadn't thought about it for this class. I don't know how anybody else feels.
I like
Anna?
I think we should do whatever's easier for you, David.
Hmm.
If it's easier for you to Zoom it,
Well, Hannah, this
Yeah.
is one of the many reasons I love you so much.
well, it just seems to me for you to schlep all the way here for an hour class
You're right.
Where do they live?
is almost more trouble than it's
Oh.
worth.
You're living in Brookline?
Shocking, but true.
Well, I think we should stay on Zoom. I had no idea that you were in Brookline. I figured you were near Easton or in Easton. Oh
No,
my God.
I've never lived near Easton. Before I was in Brooklyn, I was in Somerville. Before that, I was in Watertown.
You're a little closer now, but it's still what,
Good.
close to an hour, right?
45 minutes.
Yeah, depending on traffic.
Right.
Well, sometimes with traffic, it could be
Yeah,
more.
yeah, because I schlep out to Newton 3 days a week, so
But,
I know
like,
it's a bit of a.
come the fall, like I'll be at Temple more, starting July, I'll be at Temple a bit. So, all right, so let's put that aside. How about, like, do you want to continue the way we're doing it? Mostly prayers, a little bit of grammar here and there? Or is there any Any suggestion with that, Natalie?
That was what I was going to ask you. How do you see the class going forward? Is it going to be mostly prayers and reading, or is it going to be a lot of grammar and translating?
Mostly prayers and reading. And maybe a little bit of grammar thrown in.
That's what I like.
That's what we've been doing.
I like it this
right?
way.
Yeah. And I'll supplement, I'll make sure that, this book doesn't necessarily do all the prayers that we want to do. So I'll make sure that we do the prayers that we want to do.
Norm was trying to say something, I think.
Go ahead, Norm. He usually succeeds.
You know me, okay. I think what you're doing is superb. It has enhanced my appreciation, understanding, and enjoyment of the services. It's hard to quantify how much it has. It's been really good for me.
Oh, thank you so much. Norm.
And the mix that you're doing is just right. And it occurred to me as you were talking, and maybe whether we do Zoom or live or whatever, whatever is to your convenience works for me. I can accommodate easily. Maybe we need to go on a field trip to a Shabbat morning service, a Saturday morning service at some temple, and we could hear some of these
Temple
prayers
Chai Shalom.
on a Saturday morning.
Oh,
Well,
well,
what is a bar
Maybe
mitzvah?
maybe we should do it at bar mitzvah if we won't interfere with the family,
of course
and
not.
just sit there and appreciate the prayers as they're sung and as they're part of the liturgy.
That makes sense.
Great idea.
So Norm, just so you know, the bar mitzvahs there, it's always, the temple community is always welcome. And I love that, because that's how you get to see the kids that are in your community, and you also get to go to a service. So it's lovely.
And it's the temple's Shabbat service. The kid, bar mitzvah kid, is leading it. The one exception is that, like, in this time of COVID, where we have limited
That was
limited
pre-COVID, yes.
access to the sanctuary and like maximum numbers of people.
Yes, that's true.
That's the only. That's
Let's
the
give her
only
some water,
reason
honey.
People wouldn't be welcome.
By the
All right, so guys, it's been
But
such a blast.
Steve, you can't wear that black shirt to temple. You'd have to wear something, or at least with a tie.
It's a black
I
tie.
think Annie had something.
Go ahead.
No, I have another meeting. I gotta go. I'm gonna run. Sorry, I gotta run right now. See
I
you
do
guys.
too.
Bye,
another
Annie.
time.
It's nice to see you.
Bye. So it's been such a pleasure doing this class with you. I hope you want to resume in the fall, and I hope we get some other people, because, at this point, whether someone reads Hebrew, if someone reads Hebrew at all, I think they'd fit in just fine. So talk it up to your friends over the summer, practice over the summer, get together with each other and spend 5 minutes reading a little Hebrew so you don't forget your Hebrew, or come to a service. That will work too. So I hope you all have a fantastic summer. It's very exciting that most of us are like getting together with people face to face and having meals and not having to wear masks all the time.
Isn't it nice?
It's fantastic. So I hope it's really good for all of you, and see you around.
Everybody stay
Thank
well.
you, David.
Thank you.
Have a
Looking
good
forward
summer.
to seeing your
Everybody
hearing
stay
your
healthy.
album,
Thank you, David.
Thank you,
Bye,
David.
You're
David.
welcome. It's a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.